Part of the garden gets full sun for most of the day, which is where we've got all our herbs. Whereas along the strip with the opposite there's lots more shade, so that's where we've got soft fruit and things which don't mind dapple shade. Okay, the other element is that it's a forest garden. So this is something which was developed by a guy called Robert Hart, particularly learning from tropical home gardens. So particularly say places like Goa, and realizing that people feed themselves from three-dimensional gardens. So using lots and lots of different layers, a bit like a woodland ecosystem. So our version of the canopy layer would be the self-fertile cherry tree. So it's important to remember that although all this was planted in 2002, but all the plants were small and immature. It's not a kind of a Chelsea garden where you just kind of crane stuff in. All these trees started off as 4-foot whips, and are testament to the power of organic horse shit, ground up seaweed and ground Scottish granite, which provides lots of trace elements and minerals which plants need to be healthy. So that's our canopy layer. This is a Korean snow pear, which is good for pies. In the corner we've got a black mulberry, and then coming down in the layers there's a kind of the small tree, kind of understory trees. This over here is a John Downey crabapple. That's very good if you've got an orchard. It is very good for pollinating all your other varieties, and also the fruit makes a good jelly and can also be eaten just off the tree. It's not sort of toe-curlingly sour. So that's the sort of small tree layer, and then coming down a bit further we've got the shrubs. So the one which you've already sampled, the spiny pepper plant. Most of many of the plants that we've got here are from China, Japan and North America. That's because they have a similar kind of climate to us in many areas. And so the guy who's been really pushing this kind of temperate forest garden along is a guy called Martin Crawford, who's down in Dartington. He's got a forest garden which is 15 years old, and has been introducing lots of plants from all over the world just to see what will work best in our kind of climate. So he's got a book out, if anybody's interested in this. He's got a book out coming out next year, and has got an hour-long DVD as well, where he kind of explains the principles and some of his favourite plants. So that's the shrub layer. Over here is this is a good one for school community gardens. It's a spineless goose-gog, so no fear of any litigation from irate parents. Behind it, the one which the leaves are turning, is a chokeberry. It's another North American one. Fruit is very high in pectin, so it's, again, if your school's doing a lot of jam making, then it's a good solution to dental caries without having to put lots of sugar in your jam. Okay, so then below the shrubs we've got herbaceous perennials. Over there you can see a dried example of echinacea, used in lots of herbal remedies as a tonic. Over here we've got this is St John's wort, which is a traditional remedy for depression. Over here we've got another remedy for depression, which is valerian. Underneath there's a hazelnut, a cobnut there, which is a commercial variety of hazel. Underneath that, perfect conditions for Chinese artichoke, so lots of shade, and the artichokes really thrive there. So if any of you have got a problem shady area underneath some trees, Chinese artichoke, thoroughly recommended. Tiny little white tubers, which are a real delicacy in French cuisine. So basically, despite all this growth, most people assume that it takes a lot of work, but it's been designed as a low maintenance garden. During the summer it's mainly cutting back from the skylights, and only takes about 5 hours a week, and it's been designed to be low maintenance. So one of the key elements is this permanent ground cover. So everywhere we've got lots of things like this. In this pizza bed there's lots of oregano and marjoram, lots of strawberries, particularly wild strawberries, because commercial strawberries often get fungus and so need lifting every few years, whereas the wild ones are much more disease resistant. We've also, this one is a South American, that's a tiger iris, which has got some edible corms. So if any of you are interested in this, the Agroforestry Trust has got a really good website, and also there's a fantastic website called Plants for a Future. We've got a database of 7,000 useful plants, which is where a lot of the information for this planting came from. If any of you are interested in green walls, and not the high-tech ones that French designer is using all over Paris, then I'd recommend the one below. There's a golden hop there, but below that rich green is called Japanese Stauntonia. It can grow from the ground up to 20 or 30 meters, so you get really good coverage. It's evergreen, very, very pretty forms to the leaf. A flower which comes early in the spring and smells of jasmine, and it also has an edible fruit. So just a fantastic plant. If you put it up a trellis, then you get all the benefits of insulation that growing up your wall. Obviously, if you want solar gain during the winter, then you'd grow something which drops its leaves. So you grow something like a grapevine, because it drops its leaves and then your building gets all the solar heat gain. If you want to cool your building, then obviously you put up an evergreen which will shade it. Yeah? So there's lots of ways now which people are not only using green roofs, but also green walls. If you've got any fans of soft fruits, then this is the perfect one, really good one for community garden. This is Japanese wineberry. You can fan it up a wall, nice warm wall, pretty undersides, so it's decorative, pretty pink stems, but absolutely drips with fruit which are sweet and juicy, so sweeter and juicier than raspberry. So well worth considering, and you can get it in quite a few nurseries now. Okay, let's, if you just wander around. Do you want to take some of that and pass it on? Oops. Mm-hmm. Do you want to pass it that way? Okay, the one which is going around now is this yellow flower. It's called alicost. In medieval times it was used as a strewing herb. So if you think of the word to strew, people would take a sprig of it, throw it on the floor, and then it acted as an air freshener. It's not mint, despite the fragrance. It was also used to flavour beer. Do you want to move around the floor? You can eat this leaf. Take some, pass it on.
Thank you.